miss me as much as I missed you? If this is your first time joining, my name is Audrey, and this is the Fire and Fiber podcast, where I talk about knitting, thrifting, social justice, and kind of anything else that pops into my ADHD brain. I'm coming to you from my home in southwestern Ontario on the Haldimand Tract. If you don't know, the Haldimand Tract was an agreement between the Six Nations of the Grand River and the Canadian government to grant Six Nations 6 miles on either side of the Grand River. Like every other treaty in Canada, this has not been fulfilled. I am a mother, I'm a wife, I am from Batchewana First Nations up in Garden River, Ontario. I work in healthcare, and today I am going to be doing I guess I technically missed summer. I did a spring knitting plan, and then I forgot about doing summer knitting plans, and I guess now we're doing fall knitting plans. So before I get into that, I'm trying a new setup, so let me know what you think. I wanted to highlight a few things. So the first is this. I don't know if you can see it. I'm going to try to get a better view. I'm an idiot. This is my brand new Every Child Matters. Okay, we're going to omit the stool for a moment because the stool is not my friend. This is my brand new Every Child Matters t-shirt from Morningstar Designs. Morningstar Design is run by Alana Jewell. Full disclosure, she's a friend of mine. She's an amazing person, one of my favorite people and artists. She teamed up with Joe Fresh this year for this Every Child Matters design, available through Joe Fresh stores, with 100% of the proceeds going to the Gord Downey and Shani Wenjack Fund, supporting initiatives for Indigenous folks and in support of National Day of Truth and Reconciliation, which is September 30th. As we are in September, I thought it was finally time to bust this bad boy out. It is a unisex, so for reference, I'm wearing an extra large. I didn't believe when I was looking online the extra large wasn't available. However, I was happy with the extra large. I got some for myself, my partner, and my kids, and they are still available. The fundraising efforts will actually continue through until October 31st, even though TRC Day is September 30th. If you don't know, Alana Jewell is a really amazing artist. She's Bear Clan from Oneida, the Thames, and she is based in Kitchener, Waterloo, where I also am. Like I said, I've known her for a long time. She's an incredible person, an incredible artist. She puts on really great art markets. If you saw my last vlog about the art market that I was vending at, that was actually put on by her and her partner Luke, who's also an artist. They're just lovely, lovely humans, and they are doing really, really incredible work for the Indigenous community. So I'm super, super excited to be wearing this, even though it is only September 1st. The other item that I'm wearing that I wanted to show off before I take it off, because I'm a sweat monster, is this. It's the knitting badge neckerchief design from Nicholas, my apologies. It is the cutest little tiny project. I made this with Sanasgarn Tyne Line in the color 4108, and I think I made it in like 2 days. I made it in probably about 2 days. I'd have to check my Ravelry. It's a really cute repeating pattern with some yarn overs that become these, they look like drop stitches almost. And like I said, I made it to and from Calgary. Like, I started it probably the day before my trip. I did weigh it. This is super tiny. It only used, I believe, 21.5 or 22 grams of yarn. So the Tyne Line comes in a 50-gram ball, and I still have over half of it left, so I could definitely make a second little kerchief if I wanted to. It was a really cute, fun idea. I'd seen Locknit's post about it. She made one in a black, and I thought it was really cute. So that's just a little project that I wanted to show off because, like I said, I'm sweaty and I'm taking it off. I completely missed the boat on summer knitting plans. In fact, I think I had kind of thrown together a really quick spring knitting plans. Not so much a knitting plan. I felt like it was more something that kept me accountable with all of the various whips I have, as well as yarn acquisitions, projects I wanted to make. I don't actually utilize my Ravelry queue. I think that's probably a good thing because I think I would just be adding way too many projects to it. It did give me a lot of motivation to finish up the whips I had, and for me, I had sort of gotten a little bit overwhelmed with the amount of projects I was doing, so it actually made me feel a little bit better and help my brain organize a little bit more and think clearly about what I wanted to get done and in what order. Right now, my fall knitting plans are actually just to continue hopefully finishing off my whips. I do have a few time sensitive items and then hopefully start on my fall knitting plans, but truthfully, I'll probably be scrambling to get Christmas and holiday gifts done by the time I'm in maybe finished. I'm being very optimistic with myself, thinking that I'm going to finish my spring one still, but we'll get there. So the first fall knitting plan item that I wanted to talk about is I feel like this thing is cursed. This is my framed sweater by Andrea Mowry. If you saw my spring knitting plans, you know that I realized that I had forgotten to switch my needle size, and I had done half of the back of this and then also an entire sleeve. I'd done an entire pattern repeat, about 26 rows, and I was using the wrong size needle. So I had decided to frog the sleeve, do a mid-project block on this, and then see where I'm at. So I've done my mid-project block, and as you can see, I've frogged my sleeves, and I haven't tried it on yet. I'm honestly kind of afraid to try it on. I'm really, really nervous that it's not going to be what it needs to be. But that is going to be, if I get around to it, the first project I do want to try and finish for fall. I'm working on it for quite a while. The other item that I talked about in my spring knitting plans was the Sisterhood Shawl test knit from Brie and Arlene. I did finish that, and I've actually gifted it to my mother-in-law. I'll pop in a photo here of my finished project, or my finished item. It was a joy to knit, honestly. It was super satisfying. I've decided apparently that I'm really into shawls all of a sudden, so it was really up my alley. And like I said, I gifted it to my mother-in-law. She was super, super excited about it. She had actually seen my progress photos I was posting. I think I had posted them probably on my Instagram story, and so it had gone on my personal Facebook story. And she had said, you know, I'll take it if you're done. Or like, Audrey, this is the most beautiful work I've seen from you so far, or something like that. So she was very, very excited to receive it, and I was very happy to gift it to her, knowing it would be so appreciated and enjoyed. My mother-in-law is definitely a knit-worthy kind of person. She's very, very excited to receive anything handmade. So I was happy to get rid of that one. Not get rid of, but I was happy to finish that one, clear it out of my queue. I feel like this sweater is something I've been posting about and talking about for so long because I am in the weeds with it. And this is my Come Back Again from Andrea Mowry. I have about 3 more inches to go on the body. I've already done the sleeves, and then I need to finish working on the body and the construction. I feel like I'm not even a third of the way done with this thing. The texture is beautiful, and I'm really, really happy with how it's turning out, but it's very slow going. So I might, I'm thinking I might do one of those like one project for the whole week sort of deals and see how much I can get done on this. Still using this stool, and I'm still bending over, and I'm still risking my life every time I do it. The next object that I talked about in my spring knitting plans was my Musselburgh that I had been working on for 1.5 million years, and I'm happy to say I finished it. Gosh, I want to say, my notes say August 19th. So this one I started on July 7th, and then I didn't finish until August 19th. To clarify, I started on July 7th, 2024. And I didn't finish until August 19th, 2025. So I was using my own hand dye for this, and part of why I was a little bit stuck on it was because I knew I was going to run out of yarn, and I wasn't feeling particularly inspired to go through my stash. But because I've been cleaning up a lot, I did find a lot of different yarns that I was able to make work with this. So this is one side, and then this is the other, and it is bright, it's obnoxious. These are all hand dyed yarns. This is my own, and these are 2 others that I got from a dyer who's no longer dyeing anymore, and then a little bit left of my own. And it's so satisfying. It's just happy. I feel like this is going to be a great hat in the dead of winter when I am so miserable and grumpy, and it's really nice and oversized too. Like, it's quite oversized. I made an adult medium because I have an extremely large head. Like, I have a man-sized head. So, like I said, this took me forever just because it's so repetitive. It's great. It's great TV knitting. It's great like car knitting. It's very meditative. If you're looking for a project where you don't need to really think once you've done your increases and you're just doing straight stockinette for 1.5 million years, then this is definitely something to consider. It kind of got away from me, but I was happy to get it back. And I just wanted to showcase these 3 yarns. So like I said, the bottom is my own hand dye. I use Jacquard Neons. The middle one has this sort of like minty with little speckles of maroon. This, I remember, was sort of designed to be like a zombie one, which I thought was really cool. Like zombie in that this minty greenish color would have been, you know, the zombie skin, and then the blood. I think that's what it was. I thought it was cool. And then this green, I don't know if it's picking up, but this is actually a sparkly base right here. These are all fingering weights. These are from the spinning spider. She's not dying anymore, unfortunately, but I'm happy to have this done. I'm happy to have it out of my queue. I'm not excited about winter, but I'm like, well, at least I'll have a cute hat. So that's a thing. The other finished object that I wanted to do a video on this because it's part of my knit along, and I haven't woven in any of my ends, blocked or finished it, but I did complete my ranunculus. This I made with thrifted yarn. It's called Date Nights. I believe it's from Lion Brand. It's a very, not gonna lie, it's very stretchy acrylic polyamide combo. I thrifted these. I think I got a bag of 3 of them from the thrift store for $7.99, and I most likely used a 20% off coupon. So this was a great stash busting project. Few modifications I made. One being I didn't do as much of the ribbing for the hem. I wanted it a bit more cropped, and I was also a tiny bit nervous about yardage. And then I actually only did a tiny little sleeve, so I left my sleeves when I had gone back to the body. I left them on barber cords, and then I just only did, I think it was 2 rows of knit front and back, and then 2 rows of this just like straight knitting to give me a pretty little ruffle, and then a super stretchy bind off because I thought that would be the easiest, and I really liked the idea of a ruffle sleeve. I will try this on later and obviously weave in my ends and such, but that is done. Am I completely addicted to the ranunculus now? No. I understand the obsession. Depending on your size, you can actually potentially do one out of a single skein of hand-dyed yarn, especially if you've got like a fingering weight and it's, between 400 and 500 meters or yards. That's a great project. Like I said, I wanted to know what the fuss was about and also stash bust, and that this project definitely met both of those needs. It's going to be a layering piece as I tend to make my sweaters. I think I can see myself making a longer one for sure. I don't know about the long sleeves. I do like the ruffle, but the pattern is great. It is very well written. I like that the written instructions have a variety of modalities in that they have written instructions, and then each section has a diagram. And then when you're on the Ravelry page, there's a whole list of links to videos on the different stitch patterns and things like that, the different stitches. So that was very helpful for me. And yeah, she done. Next few things, I just wanted to point out, this is, I think it's from Deranged U Works. I don't know. My lovely friend and coworker Wendy gifted me this yesterday. Yes. This knitting project bag yesterday. She said she saw the fabric. She was going through her supplies, saw this, and was like, I know who I should give this to, and that is Audrey. So I was very excited to get this. Obviously, it's really lovely, and then the inside lining is really cute. Like I said, apparently I've decided I'm a shawl person, and I have been slowly working on the float shawl from Dawn Barker out of Feisty Fibers Dahlia. So I have a few assigned pooling yarns, but this one I've had my eye on for a long time. Feisty Fibers is a Canadian brand. I believe they're out of Toronto. I've used a few other Feisty Fibers sock yarns. This is their sock base. I thought this was a really great project for this yarn. I've been really interested in assigned pooling, and I've been toying with the idea in my head of trying out dyeing assigned pooling, but I really wanted to make an item with it first. I think this is going to be lovely once it's done. So it's just a triangle shawl that's slowly increasing, and it's got these little clusters right here. The needles I'm using are way too long. They're annoying me deeply, but this is what I had available. And I actually think, like, this is a set of Chagu. I'm pretty sure I thrifted these, which is why I have them, especially in this cord length. I would never buy, like, this is a 100 centimeter cord. I would never buy that, especially as a fixed circular. However, I have them, so that's cool. So I showed in a previous video that I've completed my National Strawberry Day socks with yarn from Area 51 Fibers, and that was part of my vacation knitting when I went on vacation in March and April. I haven't been able to finish the other socks that I knit on that trip yet, so I still have the licorice socks and the hobby Halloween socks, but I have finished one of the socks for my husband, and I am very close to being done the second. This is just sock yarn from Regia Tweed. It's the red color, obviously, and I've already completed my heel. I'm about a third of the way done the foot, and then these will also be done. I am very excited to get these off my queue, out of my life. I feel like it sort of gains a life of its own and it judges you. And so for me, as someone who is incredibly messy, incredibly disorganized, and constantly trying to figure out how to keep myself on track, keep things cleaned, my office, for example, having unfinished projects gives me the ick because I don't like having things not finished. I want to enjoy the knits I'm making, but at the same time, I'm also just like, ooh, squirrel, like bright, shiny, new patterns. So I'm really like a magpie with it when I see things I want to make, and I will very happily cast on a project before even thinking about all my other whips. So trying to really narrow my focus. So I do have hold on, coffee break. I feel like I need to like a dance number, like magic bean juice. And then just like disco lights for take a coffee break. Those are my works in progress, I think. I mean, I've probably forgotten something. However, I was trying to finish off my spring knitting plans, skipped over summer, and then I'm hopefully trying to get through fall so that I can continue with my holiday or sock knitting. There were a few other projects in here that I have finished that I've either talked about in previous videos, like my spring sorrel, projects that I have in progress, like my stash busting palette cleanser shawl, or items that have already been gifted and given away. So I made like the boucle bonnet. I've made a little tiny French macaroon sweater, and then I also made a flax sweater in a size, I think it was 4 to 6, for my friend Lauren's little guy. I went out to BC and Alberta last week with my kids to visit my best friend, and so I brought gifts for the new baby that is coming hopefully in the wintertime, and then also big brother. Forgot mom and dad because priorities, so I will eventually get their gifts done. I need to knit Lauren a pair of socks as well on my endless to-do list. Moving on to the actual plans, I did purchase La Bien-Aimée Merino DK. The Knitting Loft was having a clearance sale. They were clearing out a few different lines, I think to replace them with other lines. And so I did pick up a sweater quantity of this really, really gorgeous DK. The color is Fluoro Morganite. I've also picked it up in a sock weight. It is just so beautiful and decadent. So I'm hopefully going to start on my Crux cardigan from Kindred Red. That was in the issue of Pom Pom magazine. I have the physical copy that I found thrifting for like $2-3 after I had already spent 20 Canadian to purchase the online digital version. Just how she be sometimes. Anyways, this is hopefully going to get started really, really soon. I am also in a test knit that I have not started yet. I'm going to be soon. I have until October 5th, but I'm going to be casting that on very soon. I'm not sure if I can talk about it yet, but I am doing another test knit for Brianne Arlene Designs. Like I said, I did her sisterhood shawl. Loved it. I love test knitting. I love test knitting because I have a deadline. There's a group chat of people who can work through problems with me. You get kind of an immediate, it's almost like having like a tech support when you do a test knit that has a group chat. The hive mind will answer you almost immediately. I've had that with other test knits I've done, and it's really, really helpful. Like I said, I really like Brianne Arlene Designs. The patterns are beautifully written. And so I am going to start on that soon. I don't know, soon. I have until October 5th, so I'm probably going to leave it to the last minute like the dummy I am. Anyways, if I'm being really, really optimistic, I am hoping to also start working on the Caitlin Hunter King Salmon Light version. The original King Salmon sweater is gorgeous. However, I'm not someone who typically wears like a really DK or Aran weight sweater because I'm sweaty. So I'm also someone who is happy to knit a sweater or a garment that is in a lighter weight, knowing it's going to take me longer because I am sweaty all the time. I'm in menopause. Even before that, I'm a warm-blooded girly. I do have a few yarns that I'm thinking about working with, one being the Filcolana Arwetta. I have it in like a really pretty bubblegum pink color from a previous test knit that I backed out of for different reasons. However, I was thinking like this bubblegum pink with like a bright orange or maybe even a bright tennis ball color for the fish. Or maybe I'll go in a different direction. Who knows? However, that is something. I've purchased the pattern. I definitely have sweater quantities here, and it's been in my queue for a while. My queue being the queue in my brain because I don't need to start using Ravelry more than I already do. So I think that's all I have for fall knitting plans. I have a glorious child-free afternoon at home, so I'm trying to batch film as much as possible. I also have a ton of batch editing to do. A couple other things I wanted to talk about that are not knitting related. I've been reading a lot lately. I read a lot on vacation as well, and so I just finished this morning actually the audiobook version of The Grace Year by Kim Liggett. I am unwell. It was so good. It is one of those books that I can tell is going to stay with me for a long time. Some books just stay with you. I'm thinking specifically of Station 11 I read about a year and a half ago. That one is one I still think about a lot. And so I can tell Grace Year is also going to be one. Grace Year, if I had to describe it, it's sort of like Lord of the Flies meets The Handmaid's Tale meets Yellow Jackets if Yellow Jackets was a book and not a TV show. I now need to fact check whether or not it was a book first and then became a TV show, because that would be really stupid if it was. And I didn't know that. How do I describe Grace Year? It's sort of this dystopian past future. It's got like really heavy themes of really oppressive Christianity in, like I said, this very sort of dystopian, backwards, scary time. I'm not describing it well. The whole idea is that when these girls in Gardner County turn 16, they are chosen by the men in the community to who they're going to be married to. It's in this weird veiling ceremony. And then they get sent out to live in this encampment in the wilds for a year, which is where they're going to get rid of their magic. The whole community believes that women and girls have magic to lure men into sin, and so they have to go live in this scary encampment for a year and hopefully rid themselves of their magic before they can come back and be nice, docile, Christian good wives. If you've been following my channel for any period of time, it's pretty obvious where my politics lean. You can probably understand why I found this interesting. I was thinking when I was reading it, like, this would be a fantastic horror movie. Kind of in the realm, like the way I was picturing it in my mind would kind of be like Midsummer. If you've seen that, you know what I'm talking about, like the aesthetics. Anyways, I am not a director, movie producer, screenwriter, whatever, but if I was, that'd be where I would go with it. Another item that I wanted to talk about, not knitting related, is I have been wearing this signet ring. It's like a North Star signet ring from Jenny Be Free for a couple weeks now. Jenny Be Free is a Canadian company, and they make really, really beautiful, stylish, tarnish-resistant gold jewelry. So I've purchased the ring. I am also waiting on a shipment. I ordered a necklace, and I ordered a bracelet. I believe I just got an email that the bracelet's out of stock, but I'm really excited for the rest of the jewelry. I'm pretty picky with my jewelry. I was really happy that this has lasted so far. I did put it to the test. I've been wearing it nonstop in the shower, washing my hands, kind of exposing it as much as I could to actually test if it is tarnish resistant, and it's holding up. It's hard to tell, but it's hard to tell on camera. It does have this like beautiful little stone in the middle. Ignore my nails. They are not done. If you are interested in stylish jewelry that doesn't break the bank, I do have a coupon code that saves you 15% off. Full disclosure, I do get a small portion of those sales. Anyways, I'm going to wrap this up. Like I said, I'm trying to batch film as much as possible today. If this is your first time, I really do hope you will like and subscribe and comment below something that you are looking forward to knitting in the fall. And I will hopefully see you soon. Take care and happy knitting.